He was within 8 knots of stalling that thing.
Why did this P-51 Mustang land on a World War II US Navy aircraft carrier? The outstanding U.S. land-based fighter of World War II was the P-51 Mustang. Nearly 15,000 Mustangs were produced during the war. During that time, the Navy kept a careful eye on the U.S. Army's development of the Mustang, thinking it could hold potential as a carrier-based long-distance escort fighter. Then, in 1944, a P-51D was acquired for carrier evaluation. This particular P-51D was fitted with an arresting hook attached to a reinforced bulkhead behind the tailwheel. Additionally, the tires were replaced with special, high-pressure tires. And finally, a catapult hook was installed between the main landing gear. Testing of this Navy version of the P-51 began at Mustin Field near Philadelphia in September 1944. Now, I wasn't aware of this piece of naval aviation history until I met this guy.
I'm Bob Kettenheim. I'm the historian for the USS Shangri-La Association.
I was interviewing Bob Kettenheim about the history behind the World War II aircraft carrier USS Shangri-La when he started telling me this crazy story.
They wanted an escort for B-29s. B-29s were flying long distances. They needed a way to escort them. Well, the 51s couldn't escort them that far. So they needed something closer to the target where they could put these up in numbers. The theory was that we'll take a look at the P-51, it can stay with the B-29s, meet them somewhere around the target, and escort them in.
As modified, the P-51D fighter, Army Air Force serial number 44-14017, was redesignated ETF-51D. However, it was not assigned a Navy Bureau number, as is sometimes reported. Additionally, references to the name Seahorse have been found in some documents, but that was never made official by the U.S. Navy. On November 15, 1944, at 12:20 p.m., 26-year-old Lieutenant Robert Bob Elder began carrier trials on board the USS Shangri-La aircraft carrier CV-38.
So Bob Elder, who was a test pilot out of the Philadelphia facility at the time, he flew it down, landed several times, no problems whatsoever, with the exception of a different stall speed. He knew this thing was sluggish and was on the verge of a stall as it was coming into the groove. He was within 8 knots of stalling that thing. And he said, this is not made for carriers. When you read into that project, the Navy loves the radial engine. They don't like the inline engine for a whole bunch of reasons. First off, being liquid cooled, that coolant is going to have to come from some stores on board the ship. So now you got to store this stuff that this ship was not built for. The coolant is flammable. So now you got another problem with onboard ships. Ships and fires don't mix. Damage. Aircraft that are damaged with liquid cooled engines a lot of times don't come back, and you're navigating over open ocean, where the air-cooled engine, you could knock out a cylinder or two and still make it back to the ship, and a lot of them did. The Navy also painted the outline of a carrier deck on some of their runways for training. And they did that up in Philadelphia and used arresting gear. That's where they tested this and made sure that that aircraft was able to sustain an arrested landing. Somewhat related to another reason why the Mustang didn't come about, because the F-8F Bearcat was coming off the assembly line and they were getting ready to hit the fleet. And those were an extremely high-performance, fast aircraft that could outfly anything. And that's one of the reasons why the Mustang didn't come about